up, everybody? I was reading the book Relentless by Tim Grover, and Tim Grover is the trainer for Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Dwayne Wade, and just a highly respected figure in terms of the mindset aspect of life. You know, Kobe Bryant says that nobody in the world knows the mentality of a sport better than Tim Grover. And so this guy made a book, and the whole idea of the book, it's called Relentless. It's about the attitude of champions, based on his experience of working with champions. How do they think? How do they move? How do they behave? How do they react to things? And what are their tendencies? And so maybe you might not be playing a sport, but I could argue maybe life is a sport. Maybe business is a sport. Maybe the challenges that you have on the day-to-day, maybe like tackling your day-to-day objectives, you could call that a sport. And so how do we win at the sport of life? If we imagine life to be a sport, how do we win at the sport of life? Well, in this sport, first of all, who are you competing against? The reality is you're competing against yourself, right? It's you versus you. And so how do you win when it's you versus you? By the way, I'm in Colombia right now, if you can't tell already. I don't speak a lick of Spanish. I'm just walking around talking to my camera. Some people are looking at me here. But anyways, back into this video. You versus you. You're competing against you. How do you win? One thing that you need to do is just not be satisfied. And that's absurd to say, like never be satisfied. How could you be happy if you're never satisfied? This was a word that I got from the ex-COO of Microsoft and also the ex-COO of Walmart. Okay, so forget his name, but he spoke at 10X GrowthCon, which I was at last week with Grant Cardone. I paid like $1,000 for a ticket to attend this. Some people paid $15,000 to attend this conference. But this guy, he's a COO. He worked with people that are just titans of industry, Sam Walton and Bill Gates, and pretty much like the entire executive team of Microsoft, Steve Ballmer. And what he said is that the commonality between all of them, because that was a question he was asked often, what's the commonality between all these guys? And what he said to the audience at 10X GrowthCon is the biggest commonality with these three guys, and what he's noticed in every single person that has massive success, is what he called divine discontentment. Divine discontentment. And what that means is they're never satisfied with the status quo. They're always improving, they're always optimizing, they're always wanting more. And as soon as they hit one objective, their mind goes on to the next objective, the next thing that they can conquer. And I think that when I reflect on my own life and the people that I know in front of me that are doing big numbers, some of them are very young and they're doing like 6-figure months even. And in these individuals, I noticed the same thing. They're never satisfied. They always want more. How do you cultivate that inside of your life? In my view, I think it goes into asking yourself, what is your potential really? What do you really want out of life? And what do you think you're capable of? Right? Because if you think in your mind, I'm a 6-figure per year person, if you think the most I could do is 6 figures in a year, then as soon as you hit that metric, you're going to start getting complacent. You're not going to want more because you think that you've capped your potential. But instead, if you think that your potential is much bigger than that, if you think you could do 7 figures in a year, then you're not going to celebrate a 5-figure month. Let's backtrack a little bit. What's your goal inside of your life? What do you want to do? Is your goal right now to hit a 10K month? Fair enough. Then don't celebrate until you hit that 10K month. Once you hit that 10K month, you could reevaluate if you want to go harder, go more, or start to just enjoy the other aspects of your life. Doesn't even have to be with money. It could even be with your body. If your goal is to get to 12% body fat, don't celebrate until you get to 12% body fat. And I'm not saying don't celebrate as in like don't feel good about the little victories that happen along the way, because that's very important, right? If you're trying to lose weight and you're 50 pounds overweight, you should be happy as fuck every time you lose 5 pounds. Like that is a big milestone, and it's very difficult to lose weight. A lot of people, you know, struggle with it for years, right? And a lot of people still, they want to, and every single year they say they're going to, but they never do. So I'm not saying don't celebrate. I guess that's exactly what I said. But what I mean to say is don't get complacent until you hit the goal that you actually set out. And until that comes, you just got to be relentless. what does relentlessness mean to you? Like, what does that even mean? To me, it means not to celebrate. To me, it means you hit a milestone, but it doesn't change the way that you operate the next day. Whether you have a victory or a loss, your mentality is still the same. You're just balanced and stoic and ready to dominate every single day, regardless of what's happening externally. Relentlessness, in my mind, is an internal thing. It's about your internal world and maximizing it to be the best that it can be, so that the external world can then reflect in multiples of what your goals are. But if your goal is to maybe hit something that's wildly unimaginable, like $10 million a month, you know, like I actually don't even know anybody that's doing $10 million a month. I probably have met like some people that are doing that are way older, not really anybody around my age. But if that's your goal, then why celebrate at 10K per month? If your goal is 10 million a month, job's not done. What's there to celebrate, right? Like, that's what Kobe Bryant says. This is the whole idea. You just have to keep going and keep pushing and keep striving and just make that the purpose of your life. The reality is, right? Like, even if you have 10 million in the bank, you're not going to be happy and satisfied, because at that point, you know, life just becomes meaningless. And that's one of the reasons why when people hit a big goal that they've been working towards for a long period of time, right when they hit it, they start to get sad for the next 2-3 weeks, because it's like all the things that they were working for has now been accomplished, and now they don't have that sense of purpose. So I'm going all over the place, right? I haven't done one of these videos in a while. I'm going to start doing these consistently, but just keep going. The purpose of life, it's so beautiful. It's just to keep building, become better, and contribute more and more to making the world a better place. And that's just a never-ending pursuit. So don't celebrate, don't get happy, don't get complacent, because there's always work to be done, right? There's always work to be done. And so just get back on it, get that work done. Wake up the next morning, do it again. Maybe you might celebrate on a Friday night, but Saturday morning you're back at it and building. But yeah, Medellin's a great vibe, enjoying it a lot. See you guys in a couple days. Peace.